If you retired tomorrow, do you know exactly which of your accounts you would start to pull your monthly income from? Over the course of your career, there's a high likelihood that you've saved money in multiple different types of accounts. 401ks, Roth IRAs, regular brokerage accounts. And since each of these accounts have different tax consequences for liquidating investments and taking withdrawals, the order in which you take money out of these accounts can mean the difference of hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your retirement in taxes paid. So in this video, we'll discuss first a few different steps to determine how much you'll need from your portfolio each year. We'll discuss the 3 different tax buckets, as I like to call them, which each of your accounts fall into, depending on the tax characteristics. We'll also discuss the conventional withdrawal method that most retirees default to, as well as an alternative that will make a huge difference in the amount of taxes owed over your retirement. Finally, we'll look at a client example just to quantify the possible savings that could apply to you. Hey everyone, my name is Jake Skellhorn, certified financial planner and co-founder of Spark Wealth Advisors, where we give you the confidence and clarity that you deserve with your money. Before we dive into the different withdrawal strategies, let's go through a few steps just to determine how much you'll need from your accounts each month. So step 1 is just to determine what your after-tax expenses are going to be in retirement to fund your desired lifestyle. So keep in mind, you don't need to replace your current income that you're getting in the workforce, just your expenses. So make sure you're factoring in things like whether or not your mortgage will be paid off, car notes will be paid off, if you still need to have life insurance or disability insurance. All those expenses are typically things that are no longer existent in retirement. So make sure you're calculating everything and not just estimating it based on your current expenses as you're working. So for example, let's just say that you want to live on $8,000 per month in retirement. And remember, that's after taxes, since some of the accounts we'll discuss in a minute do have tax consequences to withdraw from them. So let's say you need $8,000 per month. That's step 1. Step 2 is to determine your income floor. So fixed income sources like Social Security, pensions, annuities, rental income, things of that nature. Income sources that are more or less guaranteed to be deposited to your bank account each month in a fixed amount that you can expect. So continuing with our example, let's say that you expect your Social Security benefit to be $3,500 a month. That's going to be your income floor. So that's the second step that you need to determine. The third step is simply to do the math, to fill the gap, as I call it. What you'll need from your portfolio is the difference between your $8,000 to fund your desired lifestyle in retirement minus your income floor of $3,500. So that's $4,500 a month that you'll need from your portfolio each month, again, after taxes, to fund your desired lifestyle in retirement. So every investment account that you may have set aside for retirement falls into one of 3 different tax buckets. The first bucket would be your taxable accounts. So these would be your individual, joint, or trust titled brokerage accounts. These are non-retirement designated accounts. Of course, you can use them to fund your retirement, but they don't have any income taxes related to contributions or withdrawals. So they're called taxable accounts because dividends and interest that you receive from your investments are taxable in the year that you receive them, unlike IRAs and other types that we'll discuss in a moment. But the good thing about these accounts is that they do allow you to take advantage of lower long-term capital gains tax rates, which are, again, lower than your income taxes in most situations. So for example, if you buy a stock for $500 and it grows to $800, as long as you've held that stock for at least a year at the time of you selling it, that $300 of gain would be subject to long-term capital gains rates, which, as you can see, I'll put the brackets on the screen now. Those can be as low as 0%. So those can be really useful in retirement if you're looking to keep your tax bracket low during certain periods. Your second bucket would be your tax-deferred accounts. So these would be your traditional 401ks, IRAs, 403bs. They're also called pre-tax accounts in most situations because the money that you put into these accounts is deductible from your income in the year that you make that contribution. But when you withdraw it later on, they are subject to income taxes. However, they're called tax-deferred because the interest and dividends that you receive in the account on your investments are not taxed in the year that they're received, just on the back end when you withdraw them. So tax-deferred is your second bucket. For most people, this is your biggest bucket. They're the most common types of retirement savings accounts. Again, 401ks are really popular. So most people, this is their biggest bucket. And the third bucket is your tax-free accounts. Think Roth IRAs, Roth 401ks. Tax-free accounts also include HSAs and 529s, but for retirement purposes, we'll focus mainly on Roth 401ks and Roth IRAs. So with these, just a refresher, no tax deduction to put money into the account up front, but all of the growth, the interest, the dividends, and the capital gains, those are all tax-free when you withdraw them later on, as long as you've met certain conditions, which, you have to have the account for 5 years and be age 59 and a half. So again, taxable, tax-deferred, tax-free are your 3 tax buckets in retirement. So now that we have the basics down, let's pull up a client example so we can show you just exactly how much of an impact a certain withdrawal sequence from these different tax buckets can make over the course of your retirement. All right, so here we have Kevin and Katie, which is our case study here. Names have been changed for confidentiality reasons, of course, and some of their accounts have been simplified just for the purposes of the video. But Kevin is 59, Katie is 57. These are their accounts in green here. Kevin's 401k, Roth IRA, joint savings account at the bank, their joint brokerage account, so that's their taxable bucket. Their cost basis on their investments in the brokerage account is $200,000, so that means they have another $200,000 in long-term capital gains that they'll be able to utilize. They have their primary residence, and then they have Katie's traditional 401k. So they're looking to retire in the next 4 years or so. So when Kevin is 63, Katie is 61. This is when their monthly expenses and healthcare costs will start to kick in. Kevin's current salary, $170,000. Katie's at $110,000. Mainly what I wanted to show you here was their estimated Social Security benefit, since that is a big piece of the equation here. Kevin's is estimated to be $3,300. This is at full retirement age, so 67. Obviously, he's not there just yet. And then Katie's is $2,500 at full retirement age. As the high earner, we're recommending that Kevin delay his Social Security until age 70 so he can see the biggest benefit increase by delaying, and then Katie will claim at age 67. So since they want to retire well before that, obviously we'll have to create an income stream from their various retirement accounts to fund their lifestyle before Social Security kicks in. So again, their living expenses they expect to be about $8,000 a month, just continuing with that example that we mentioned earlier. So first, we'll just look at the tax buckets that they have all their accounts in, just to give a better visual. So they have most of their money in their tax-deferred accounts. So this is going to be, again, their 401k plans. Next would be their taxable bucket. So that's their joint brokerage account. And then finally, their Roth IRA. So just a quick visual to see, how their money is allocated tax-wise. So the conventional withdrawal method is withdrawing from these accounts pro rata, meaning for their $8,000 per month, they'll take 60% of that amount from their tax-deferred buckets, 21% from their taxable accounts, and then 16% from their Roth IRA. So that's the conventional method that most people think to withdraw from their accounts, just because they don't want any one account to be depleted quickly in retirement. So in their case, though, we can see that the withdrawal sequence of taking all of that $8,000 from their taxable account first, so that brokerage account, and then once that's completely depleted, switch over to your tax-deferred accounts, those 401ks and IRAs, and then lastly, the Roth IRAs, so tax-free would come last. So as you can see, by withdrawing money in this order as opposed to pro rata, makes a difference of almost $450,000 over the course of their retirement. So a huge difference just by withdrawing money in that order as opposed to pro rata. And just to dig a little bit deeper, the reason that this withdrawal sequence creates so much more value over the course of their retirement is because in those years that after they retire but aren't taking Social Security yet, they're taking advantage of those really low long-term capital gains tax brackets by liquidating that brokerage account. While they're doing that, all of their tax-deferred and tax-free money in their 401ks and Roth IRA continues to compound in the market. So since those accounts do not have any capital gains taxes or taxes on interest received on the investments, all of that can be reinvested in those accounts and continuing to grow until they need them. So, and another thing to note, we won't go into too much detail on this, but as you can see that their income drops in retirement, this blue bar represents their income. Anytime we see a big drop like this, it's a prime opportunity for Roth conversions. We're not incorporating any Roth conversions into this exact example just to keep it simple. We're focusing on the withdrawal strategy, but you can see Roth conversions can have an even bigger impact on their scenario if they were to convert up to the 24 or 28% tax bracket, which is common. So we'll do another video on that, but just wanted to mention that as well. And just for my analytical people that might be watching, this number comes from a Monte Carlo analysis, which is a projection of 1,000 different scenarios of what your balances could be over the course of your retirement based on your investments and, you know, historical market returns, things like that. So this is the median outcome. So if you lined up those 1,000 different results from best to worst, this is not the best or the worst, it's right in the middle. So in other words, one that we can reasonably expect to happen. Now that you've seen that example, a few considerations I just wanted to mention. First and foremost is that your balances will determine your appropriate withdrawal sequence. Sometimes pro rata can result in a higher tax adjusted ending portfolio over your retirement than that taxable, tax deferred, tax free sequence. So in this example with Katie and Kevin, that was their best bet, but your situation may be different. So it's not a one size fits all. Secondly, is that by taking money out of your taxable accounts first and letting the tax deferred accounts continue to compound and grow, it is going to increase your RMDs in retirement. So at age 73 or 75, depending on how old you are now, the IRS will require you to start taking money out of those tax deferred accounts, again, 401ks, traditional IRAs. So you do lose some flexibility at that age on when you can or where you can pull your income from, since you're required to start taking money out of those tax deferred accounts. So the domino effect of larger RMDs is that it can affect things like Social Security and how much of that is taxable. So depending on how much your adjusted gross income is with those RMDs, it could cause up to 85% of your Social Security to be included in your taxable income. The other side to that, as well as Medicare surcharges, known as IRMAA. Your income, if it's high enough, can also cause you to pay surcharges on your Medicare each month, Part B and D. So this is really where Roth conversions will start to come into the conversation to see if it makes sense to convert money from your traditional accounts to tax-free accounts. Because when you do that, you're reducing your balances in that tax-deferred bucket, and that reduces your calculated RMD amount that you'll be required to take. Just wanted to mention those few considerations when it comes to doing that taxable, tax deferred, and then tax-free sequence. So that's where the Roth conversions will really come into play. I did make a video, it's a shorter video similar to this one, explaining the benefits of Roth conversions, where we kind of separate out that strategy from the withdrawal sequence. So I'll link that on the screen now if you want to check that out. So just to wrap it all up, again, the order in which you take money out of your various retirement accounts can have a substantial impact on the amount of taxes that you owe over the course of your retirement. There's no one size fits all. A different sequence would apply to different people depending on what buckets they have and how much they have in each bucket. But in this situation that we covered today, taxable, tax deferred, and tax-free was the best option for Katie and Kevin. However, keep in mind things like your RMDs will affect you later in life, and they will potentially cause some taxes owed on Social Security and those Medicare surcharges that we mentioned. So I hope this was helpful. And lastly, if you did find this informative, but maybe a little bit overwhelming and you don't want to be responsible for managing all of this yourself in retirement, feel free to schedule a call with me. I'd love to chat with you and see if we're a good fit to work together. So thanks again for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe for more.